or with the teachers are not even trained to do what they must do. So this is holistic, and government must be serious about this. And these are the same state governments that can pay pension to governors and deputy governors, running into billions of naira every year. And so, really, I don't think it's a matter of the lack of commitment, and see the importance of education to Nigeria generally. And that is why I think every Nigerian should be able to take up this advocacy to ensure these documents are referred to on the website of UBEC. Every Nigerian can access them pursuant to this. And UBEC putting this out is actually in conformity with the Free Information Act to proactivation of this sort. So Nigerians should access this.
Basic education, revenue, where it gets the money from to fund basic education is another thing entirely. And one might say, whilst the UBEC law states that basic education should be wealthy as well, I don't think that it states precisely how the state governors are to fund it or where they are to pull the money from. Ability of the executive, working with the legislature has put down as an estimate of it might be considered to pay the counterpart funds that would. Are you concerned that Sarah may be perceived as trying to dictate to the states where they should draw money from?
Allowances and whatnot, while the capital expenditure allowances and whatnot, while the capital expenditure goes to the infrastructure of the budget in the education in the budget of each of the states. How strained is the budget and the budgetary process in the states? I think we focused a lot of attention on the federal government. How open, how aware are the people of the budgetary process in there, and how much gets released and how much is spent? Well, if we can of the issue of whether the allocation to education at all is enough. And don't forget, when you talk about allocation, even capital and recurrent of the state to education, it's not only primary education. We're talking about tertiary institutions owned by some of these states as well. So what is the pulse? What is the envelope, so to speak, of these allocations? Is it enough when we have the same state governments budgeting for pension and security votes? So if the budget is out in the open, for instance, and people have to speak and vote directly, not through their representatives in this instance, and have a mouth to speak, will they be happy that more funds are going into security votes and life pension for governors and ex-governors than it should go to education? And so that advocacy of telling them to take money from the pension they are paying to ex-governors is just a way of pointing them to where they can get funds. If perhaps, like we've had the state governments complain all the time about lack of funds. So that is a very good place to get funds. If they can get it from elsewhere in the budget allocation to the state, that's fine. But most states are not even open in their budget to even know how much is budgeted to get the education place, then how much is the capital, how much is recurrent, and how much of that even goes to basic education. And that is where you see the issue. It is more very complex. It is very complex, but really the solution is very simple. It is just a commitment to obeying the laws, being transparent, and being accountable. It will really solve a lot of problems if governments at all levels commit to the ideals of running government being accountable to the people, not to the governor, not to the party, actually, really. Government is accountable to the people. And so, talking about the pension laws and transparency and accountability of the budget is another issue entirely. But they are really intertwined with this issue we're talking about. So, if they can't take those funds from pension laws, if they can't take it from security votes, can they take it from their budget? And perhaps in instances where there is not enough allocated to the education in the budget of the state, then they can take it from pension laws, which is unlawful in the first place, and to security votes, which is clearly not only unlawful but really immoral, to say the least.
Join the conversation right now, if you will. The line 0 open, call 0817 93 0002, 0817 93 0003, or 0817 93 0007. A reminder, we're live on facebook.com/NigeriaInfoPH, also live on Twitter @NigeriaInfoPH, and WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. Hello, hard factor, welcome, please go on. Hello, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I really feel very concerned with the institutions at the state and local government level. For a very long time, most times, Nigerians seem to have focused on our eyes on now, and the things have given the governors a policy. But if I heard correctly, you'll get.
Hello, could you speak louder, please? I can hardly hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I say if I heard correctly, your guest said that these funds that UBEC are releasing, they are coming in the form of grants. So they are not like loans. They are free money, completely free money. All that the governors are meant to do is to provide an evidence that they have counterpart funds in place so that they can access this free money to be able to deliver better quality of education for their citizens.
Absolutely.
And the question now is, why would the governor not want to do it? If you attract the funds, use it to do projects, the accolades still come to you. Even though I know that most of them are worried that the projects will always have you take name on it and all the rest of them. But it is going to be there that it was done in your own time. So I really can't understand why a state governor would not want to provide, and I'm sure that the percentage contribution or the counterpart fund from the state will not be more than 30%. So you are getting like 70% funds that is going to be free or more. So we really need to start looking more at the state level, because it's just of the problems we have as a country. If we are having governors doing what they need to do, the rest of our problems will be taken care of. So it's very hard this thing. And maybe because most times we are all focused on the center, these guys seem to be on a whole day and just doing nothing, and nobody seems to be looking at that. I really want to say thank you to Sarah for this issue, and I just pray that this will bring their thing to the public to talk about it with more. The governors are really
by the way, once again, call 08002 or 0003 for Nigeria in Child could help us. PVC is, even though the law states that it's compulsory, free basic education, and it has to be qualitative, but the counterpart funding, I'm not sure if the word compulsory is to be used. It's not compulsory per se, but it's good. I mean, if the fund is there for you to access, and like the last caller said, it's not a loan. There are no interest rates on it, so it only makes. Well, if as a government you tend to spend 2 billion naira, or you've done a needs assessment and discovered their deputies.
The advocacy on that has been on for Nigerians about the legal law. So, like I said earlier, pointing the way they could take things is just advocacy. Since we have argued consistently that pension laws themselves is unlawful and very unjustifiable. So, say that they do not have the funds, possibly because of the budgetary allocations to education, which is small, which again is unlawful, really. Why allocate so little to education? Then they could easily take it from the security laws and the pension laws. I could always come by way of appropriations to the State of Assembly, who would really approve it. So we just need to understand the importance of these, and that is how I would throw the question back. If we are to put pension for ex-governors and deputy governors and security votes on one side and put adequate funding of education on the other side, I wonder whether any Nigerian, if it's not a governor or a public officer, would choose that government has provided this one. So it is really not, the governor is just doing what we should do, which is very important. Taking it from here, how they have used those funds and how it benefits Nigerians. And you don't need to be a lawyer to do this. The Freedom of Information Act is very explicit in this regard. It gives citizens the right to request for information. And that is beside the constitutional provisions that speaks about participatory